Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
The second round of the U.S. Women's Open is underway, and here's the up-to-date leaderboard. As you see, Sunghyun Park, 66 in the second round, has vaulted her to 8 under par. She currently has a one-shot lead, but a lot of players still on the course as part of the afternoon wave at Cordoval. Hey there, welcome into Golf Central. I'm George Savaricas, joined by a major champion and Karen Stupples, a multiple-time winner on the PGA Tour, and Billy Kratzer. Let's get right to the highlights from earlier at the Scottish Open. A little better scoring conditions on Friday than we saw in the first round on Thursday. And Billy, here's Danny Lee, a guy who would have been defending the Greenbrier, but with everything that unfolded, he's over in Scotland.
Yeah, and playing quite well in that little shot right there, that little pitch shot, being able to put enough spin on it to drag it to a halt pretty quick.
Shot of 66 got him to 7 under. Karen, here's Brandon Grace.
And this one having to curl quite a bit from left to right, but judging speed and line perfectly.
He would shoot a 67. He finished at 6 under through 36 holes. Padraig Harrington, the drivable par 4 16th.
Well, 337 yards, favorable wind, but look at Patty going in there and getting just a little bit extra. Perfectly played, and you can tell by the color of the grass right there that was on the downgrain side of the fairway. The ball released, beautiful shot. Had that for eagle on the par 4. Two-putted.
Second round 69, Matteo Manassero.
And where has he been? Well, the answer is he hasn't been hitting many greens in regulation, but this shot here is going to really help that stat.
Well, you're right. I mean, he is trying to dig himself out of a terrible 2.5-year slump.
Was a top 25 in the world at one point, around 600th now. He shot a second round 67. Andy Sullivan on the 12th.
Yeah, I love the way this guy plays. He plays fearlessly. You know, he'll go ahead and he'll take the chances. And this shot on the par 5, just scooting it up there. This is all about links golf, letting it release out. Sullivan would have that for eagle.
He's gone 70 out of the gates. Graham McDowell, this was a touch of class.
It was off of a downhill lie for some thick hay, using the slope, not fighting against it, and able to judge all of those things to almost hole it. Fantastic shot.
So G-Max at 5 under halfway through in the top 10. Eddie Pepperell, 7th.
Well, we're seeing a lot more of the players making putts. The wind was down. The wind was not affecting the putts nearly as much on the short ones, and that's just a bonus right there. When you toss it in from 30 feet, that is a bonus.
Alexander Noren, par 3 8th.
This hole playing 218 yards today. Quite a long way, and I think the cameraman's lost where the ball is. I've lost where the ball is, but I know it's going to appear at some point.
Yeah.
There it is, using the slope to set up that birdie chance.
So a 66 has him at 8 under par. He's got a one-shot lead going into the weekend. Here's Noren and the guys chasing him.
I managed to, hit some good shots on especially on my back 9, the front 9. So, it got better and better. Played, steady on the front 9, and then, my last 9 holes, I really, got it going. And it's always nice when you get it going, and then another birdie maybe drops, and that's what happened today. Yeah.
It wasn't windy as yesterday. It was a lot doable today. A lot of birdie chances out there, I think. A lot of the short holes were very reachable, and a lot of the par 5s felt like reachable today. So I didn't make any mistake missing many chances over there, and I made a lot of birdies today, which was good.
It was just still a grind. I played some really golf. I had a couple of nice bounces and things that went my way, and that just makes a round like this even more worthwhile. Just getting those bounces and making the most of it.
Yesterday was brutal. Today was a nice day. A few showers we had, unfortunately, but now it's amazing. So it was a good round of golf. I played solid, just like yesterday. The fact that there is a little less wind allowed me to have a few more chances for birdie that I convert. I think it's something that if I play well and it comes, I'm delighted to go for the 5th week in a row in Royal Troon.
So a couple names you just heard from there who are squarely on the first page of that leaderboard are Matteo Manassero and Danny Lee, and they have a shared history. Danny Lee at one point was the youngest ever to win on the European Tour, this coming at the 2009 Johnny Walker Classic. Just a year later, Matteo Manassero broke that mark, getting his first European Tour victory as a 17-year-old, actually grabbed 2 victories before his 18th birthday on the European Tour. So Danny Lee had that win, if you will, as an amateur. It seemed like it took him a bit of longer road, though, to consistently play up to his potential, Billy.
Right, and the maturation process for Danny Lee, it just took him a while, but he's the kind of player that loves to play a lot of golf. He plays 35-plus tournaments a year on the PGA Tour, and you referenced that he should be at the Greenbrier defending had it not been for the disaster and the flooding at the Greenbrier. But he just loves to play, and you heard him say that the par fives, they were all reachable today. The wind was down. It was a scoreable situation, and he took advantage of it.
What's impressed you so far from the leader, Alexander Norn?
Well, I really think that his ball striking has really improved. He says that he's made some changes with his swing, and that's really helping him. I'm looking down through the statistics, and he's hit 12 or 14 fairways on both days. He hit 13 and 16 greens in regulation, respectively, which in these windy conditions is impressive, to say the least. And Bill, you said it yesterday about the wind. You've got to strike the ball well in the wind in order to control it so that the wind doesn't affect it so much. He's playing really well. He's coming off of a top 10 last week as well. So he's in good form, hitting the ball well, and that's good stuff.
Clearly playing with a lot of confidence so far, and it's showing and carrying over. All right, let's check out more of the highlights from the Aberdeen Asset Management Scottish Open second round, and a few Americans made the trip over. Phil Mickelson on the second.
Well, he said yesterday he really struggled with the putter in the windy conditions, but off to a nice start here on the par 5, second hole.
More from lefty on the 6th.
And always a bit of a genius with the wedges, but off these really tight lies, he's able to clip that ball nicely, getting it to spin, and that was a lovely shot.
So Mickelson had some work to do after opening with that 76 on Thursday on the 8th.
Well, not all shots are hit perfect, George, but this one, just a little bit to the right and a little good fortune. That's knowing how the ball is going to react once it hits the ground. Good shot for Phil, and that would lead to another birdie.
Bones had to tell him miss right.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll lead to a birdie.
Yeah, and that smile says it all right there.
Mickelson with the second round 69. Steve Stricker on the 6th.
And what do you think about when you think about Steve Stricker? You think about this club in his hand right here, how good he is with it, and he's just proving to us again that's the case.
So he shoots a 71 on Friday. He's made the cut. We'll see the weekend. Remember, during the first round, Patrick Reed from the deep rough, Billy.
That might be the shortest backswing ever.
Shorter than Alan Doyle's?
And this may be the shortest downhill slide we've seen. I just can't believe he didn't tweak something there.
So he's able to walk it off, and then Reed from the deep rough on the...
And that, every time I see that, that makes me go, ooh, because that just looked painful, that was thick, it was lush, really difficult to get any kind of movement out of it at all.
But this shot, how about this one right here, Karen? I mean, I'm tired watching, trying to hit it through that hay.
And that was some thick, lush grass, wasn't it?
I mean, it sits right down to the bottom with the roots, and I mean, it entangles. I mean, that was just a marvelous shot by Patrick Reed.
He would wind up parring the par 5 second. He shot a 70, so he's at one over, as well as we take a look at some of the notables, guys who did make it to see the weekend. Martin Keimer, a 70. He's at 2 under, 6 back of the leader. In our coverage of the Aberdeen Asset Management Scottish Open, part of the Open qualifying series. Remember, 4 spots are on the line. That continues tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. on Golf Channel. Then noon Eastern, we shift over to NBC. Here's a look at the scorecard from world number 1, Lydia Ko, and what a day she was able to put together. A 6 under 66, Karen. She really had it working.
I mean, that's crazy, but that's what Lydia Ko does. She knew that she had to go out and take advantage this morning in the softer conditions. She hit some great wedges. She took advantage of the smooth greens, and that's what you get with Lydia Ko.
She goes from a disappointing over par round on Thursday to putting herself now on the first page of that leaderboard. She is just 3 back of the leader at the moment. You see Minjee Lee already a bit of a slide. She's 2 over through 4 holes.
These afternoon playing conditions are really tough for the players, but Sung Hyun Park has played a little bit on the LPGA Tour, has one of the best swings I've seen, so it's no surprise for me to see her at the top of the leaderboard.
What was the biggest difference from day 1 to day 2 for Lydia Ko from what you saw?
Really has been about the scoring, the playability of the course. In the afternoon, she was contending with some winds, some firmer greens, and she just couldn't get anything going. She couldn't make the putts. This morning, she was able to hit the smooth greens, really play into her hands with the wedges, get the ball close to the hole, and take advantage. And she got on a run and she started to get some confidence and she started to feel good about it. And when Lydia does that, it's dangerous. And seeing her there at the top of the close to the top of the leaderboard has to really make everybody else worry in the field, because when she gets there, she doesn't normally let that slide.
Billy, how tough is it for Minjee or Miriam Lee, who shot 8 under 64? Wow. You're sleeping with a 3-shot lead. Yeah. You're not supposed to shoot a 64 in a U.S. Open, and then she's faltering so far to start on Friday.
Well, it's tough, and you want to get off to a good solid start in 2 over through 4, so obviously she's struggling, and maybe nerves may be a little bit of a factor, but I think going forward that if she gets out there and she just kind of settles down and she makes a putt, it's only going to take just 1 shot to kind of turn this thing around and settle the nerves down.
All right, we still got more to get to on Golf Central. We're continuing our countdown to the Open by looking at a guy who was arguably 1 swing away from taking the U.S. Open at Chambers Bay a year ago. Speaking of the Open, Jean Van de Velde, just hearing the name brings back memories of one of the worst collapses of all time. Hear from the Frenchman as he prepares for a return to Carnoustie.
Golf Central is brought to you by the new Titleist AP irons. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.